Happy New Year, it's Jaffe. It's good to see you. Let's just jump right in. We are doing the top 13 games of 2020. Here we go. Game number 13 is called Pumpkin Jack. It is really fun. It is basically what the medieval remake should have been, but in my opinion wasn't. It is varied. It is creative. It is total video game comfort food. It doesn't have the world's best combat. It just doesn't feel anywhere near as polished or fun as the rest of the game. I would say the best thing about this title, other than its great personality and art style and music that really evokes sort of a Tim Burton flavor and makes you just excited for Halloween, is the variety. I actually spoke with the creator once. He said the thing he's most proud of is how much different stuff there is to do. The pacing of this game is fantastic. You go from a platform section to a racing section to a flying section, and none of it feels like shoehorned in. It really does keep you on the hook. I rarely finish games. I finished this. I love this. This is called Pumpkin Jack, and it's number 13. Number 12 is Samurai Jack. Now, Samurai Jack has kind of the reverse problem. The combat is great. It's not like Devil May Cry great. It's not some MLG Melee Evo thing. It's great in the sense that it's comfort food melee combat. It kind of feels like Onimusha. It's got that kind of early 2000s sense to it. It's just a really fun meat and potatoes kind of hack and slash adventure. It doesn't have the same level of variety that you get in Pumpkin Jack, but the combat is so satisfying that it totally works, and it kept me engaged the whole time. What a great, fun B-movie version of a game. This is a total matinee game. If you can get it for $20, under $20, you'll be satisfied. It's good stuff. Number 12, Samurai Jack. Number 11 is an itch scratcher. What? An itch scratcher, I says. Listen, I used to love Hearthstone. I adored that game. Then the balance got screwed up. It got too grindy, got too pay to win. I just stopped. I couldn't go back to it. This game, Monster Train, comes along. It is really good. It is not as good as Hearthstone was in its prime, but the cards are fun. The balance is really good. The strategies are really good. How the cards interact together are really good. And the overall just feel of the game and the interface and the sounds and just sort of that sense of sitting in for a lunch period playing this game for 45 minutes before you got to go back to work fills that wonderful hole in your day where you don't want to commit to some big play session, but you really want to have something substantial. This is great. This is a lot of fun if you're into these kind of games. Monster Train is number 11. Kicking off our top 10, we have a game that is exclusive for Game Pass, exclusive for the Xbox. This is a game from In Exile, one of the newly acquired studios for Microsoft. It is Wasteland 3. Now look, I am not a Western RPG guy for the most part, but because this was on Game Pass, I'm like, screw it, I'll take a chance. This thing is really good. I really like the combat. I really like the navigation. I love being in this world. But the reason this game is so special to me is because it really is so well written, not just specifically in terms of the dialogue and the narrative, but the fact that there's so much variety of where the story can go based on how you play, based on conversations you have, based on what you choose to do. Unlike a lot of narrative games these days that pretty much let you take a ride on the director or the writer's story, and you're just kind of along for the ride. In a game like this, it feels like you are not playing someone else's narrative, but you are living the narrative naturally. And I haven't really experienced that to this degree before. Because of that, because this game feels so immersive and so alive, Wasteland 3 is easily in the top 10 of my favorite games this year. Game number 9 came out actually the very end of last year, River City Girls. I adore this game. A lot of people have been saying Streets Rage 4. I've seen that on a number of best of the year lists. I played that, I finished that, I liked it. It ain't as good as this fucking game. I will concede that the fighting in Streets Rage 4 is absolutely best in breed. It is better control. It is more interesting than the fighting in River City. But that said, this game to me is simply better. The variety of moves that you can unlock, there is a meta for leveling up your character. The levels are non-linear. You can grind and go back to build your characters up. The boss battles in this game actually feel like fighting meets platform bosses, not just sort of punch sponges like in Streets of Rage 4. The IP is great. The music is great. This is just a delightful game, whether you're playing it alone or in co-op. River City Girls, number 9. Great damn game. Check it out. You know, when you start getting into the quality of games at this level, best of the year, everything, the subjectivity of it all is amplified. The game we're about to talk about at number 8 is the number 1 game for a lot of critics and a lot of awards this year. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't adore it. I wasn't addicted to it. That doesn't mean it's not a brilliant game. If this was on Switch, and it is, and I played it on Switch and not PC, I could see this game being higher on my list because I can see the addictive loop. But when you're playing it on PC, like I played number 8 of this year on PC, it's kind of like you got to kind of set down, make a session to play, and the loop just wasn't as sticky. So, but it's still great. I just didn't fall in love with it, but I fell in extreme like with it. This is number 8 of 2020. So it's Hades. It's an amazing game. It looks beautiful. It plays brilliantly. The world, the IP, the storytelling, the characters, the art design, it's the whole package. It is what you see is what you get. I mean, it is like it's a shooter slasher kind of game. It's really fun. And the loop is addictive. You're trying to fight your way out of hell. On paper, there's not a lot to say about it. If you pitched it to somebody, you'd be like, it sounds kind of cool. It's all an execution piece in every way, shape, and form, and they execute it brilliantly. If you haven't played it, you really should. It's just darn great. It's Hades, and it is number 8 of 2020. So a few days ago when we did this as a live stream, number 7 was probably the most contentious of the placements of the whole top 13. And it's because I think a lot of people expected this game for me to be higher because I raved about it all year long, and because a lot of critics have put this in their number 1 position. I just want to be clear. I adore this game. It is phenomenal. It is one of the best games I've played in many years. I hope there are numerous sequels. I hope there's a PS5 update. Obviously, I am talking about number 7, Ghost of Tsushima. So why is this so low? Clearly, look, the combat is phenomenal. The graphics are amazing in this game. Traversing the world is fantastic. The story is very good. The characters, Jin Sakai is one of the great new characters of the year. Everything about it is just awesome. To me, this game feels like Raiders of the Lost Ark meets a samurai movie. It is so damn cool. The problem is it suffers from the pacing issue that all open world games suffer from. Spider-Man, one of my favorite games of 2018, also had this problem, which is if you present the player with all this stuff to do, and then you blame the player for getting bored and not finishing the game, that's shitty design. And it's not Ghost Shima's fault. It's not Spider-Man's fault. It is a fundamental issue with the genre that it seems most players don't have a problem with. It's a subjective thing. It's my personal list, but I can tell you that for me, a game like this that basically says, here, Jaffe, solve it in whatever order you want for the most part. You get to be the director of the pacing, Jaffe. I sit back and go, okay, well, I'll go after all the shiny baubles on the map first. And that's what I did. And oh, it's fun to power up. And that's what I did. And combat's so great. So every time I pass somebody on the road, I'll fight them because the combat's great. And as all these individual pieces, it feels phenomenal. But what it does, though, is it knocks you off course of the main story. And after 20, 30 hours of wonderful gameplay, I didn't want to play anymore. I think this genre needs someone to come along and design this problem out of it. You can still provide great freedom. You can still provide the sense of immersing yourself in a big open world, but you can streamline it enough that the designers of the game are the ones that are sort of pulling you through within reason the adventure they want you to have first. And then obviously after you finish the game, go back and unlock whatever the fuck you want. But when you throw it all out there, in my opinion, you're asking for trouble. And that is why this game, which is phenomenal, couldn't get escape velocity in my top 13, which who gives a shit? It's brilliant. Sony is one of the best games they've made ever. So it's not like it's a problem. If you don't have a problem with this pacing issue, go get this game if you haven't. It is amazing. I love this game. Number 7, Ghost of Tsushima. Number 6 is Hot Shot Racing. Now look, man, this game is a shot of adrenaline directly into your soul. Shut up, Jeff, you old moron. That's crazy. It may be crazy, but this game came out of nowhere. It is so fast. It is so fun, and just the word pure comes to mind. The speed of this game, the drifting of this game, the sense of adrenaline that you get playing this game, the AI is really good on the base level. It's aggressive as fuck. They'll jostle you around, slam into you. You're skidding around the place. There's just a purity and a perfection of execution of a concept like this that, yeah, it's a lot simpler than a lot of other games this year, but it totally sticks the landing, and it is just an absolute blast to play. Hot shot racing, one of the best games of 2020, coming in at number 6. Game number 5, let me preface this really quickly. I do not like match 3 games. What you're about to see, if you have not played this game, you're going to go, it's a match 3 game. No, it's not. Fucking hate those games. This is different. This is brilliant. This is number 5, 2020, Grindstone. I get it. It looks like a match 3 game. It looks like Candy Crush. Trust me, it's not. It's more like Disney's addictive Tsum game, but instead of it being real time and frantically paced, it's a turn-based version of that. What that means is you're basically trying to connect colors in various different patterns across the entire board and to make as long of a chain as you can. And you've got various goals on the board. Besides just escaping the level, you've got chests that you can open if you're really good. You've got certain enemies you can kill and bosses you can kill if you're really good. There's a great upgrade system. All of these things come together brilliantly to create the most addictive game of 2020. I must have put about 200 hours into this probably. Before bed every night I would play this thing. It is so much fun. I know it doesn't look like the belle of the ball. I know it looks like a boring soccer mom game, but for the love of God, you guys, trust your Papa Jaffe on this. Just give it a try, man. This is great. This is Grindstone, number 5. Here we are at number 4 of 2020. This is a game that when I first started playing for the first day, I was like, I don't like this. It's too hard, blah, blah, blah. What I realized is I hadn't played a game like this in quite some time. I don't know if they've made a game like this in quite some time. A precision-based platformer. Now, some people say, oh, it's the Dark Souls of platform games. No, it's not. It just requires you to rethink about how precise a lot of your movements had to be back in the day when you were playing platform games like this. This thing is so good. It is so fun. It is so well made. It's number 4. It's Crash the Bandicoot. The game looks amazing. There's massive variety in the levels, the characters, the mechanics. The level design is probably the best level design of the year. The number of characters you can play and how all those characters perform totally different. The imagination on display in the levels, it's just fantastic. I was stunned this game did not do better than it did. I don't know if it was the price. Some people complained about the art style, saying it didn't look like classic Crash. I don't know, man. This is one of the coolest looking, prettiest games of the year. It's an absolute joy to play. It really is just platforming perfection. A little difficult, probably more than it should be, but it ain't really that hard. Look, let's put it this way. I finished it, and I suck at most games. It's great. It's wonderful. It's number 4. It's Crash. Well, here we go into the top 3, fellas and filettis. Now, this one's really interesting to me. There are 2 pieces of tech that have come along that without those 2 pieces of tech, this game I probably wouldn't have played an hour of it, let alone it being in my top 3, it being number 3. The first piece of tech is the new PlayStation 5 SSD drive, which allows games to load tremendously fast. The second piece of tech that wasn't available when I first played a series like this was streaming, or at least streaming being as popular as it is now. The game, obviously, I'm talking about is Demon's Souls. So I played Bloodborne before. I played some of the other games in this genre. It never appealed to me, primarily because the loop when you die and have to go through the 45 second reload to try again was so frustrating and was so disheartening, especially in a game that's as difficult as these tend to be in this genre, that I was just like, fuck it. After 10, 15 tries, I'm like, you know what? It's too demoralizing. It's too deflating to keep playing. But with the SSD, you die, which you die a lot in this game, and immediately within maybe 2-3 seconds, you are back into try again. The loop is so much more addictive, and I have found myself playing obsessively. The other part is the streaming tech. Somebody told me that the designer of this game intentionally made it obtuse and confusing because he wanted players to have to work together to figure it out. Maybe that's true, maybe it's bullshit, I don't know. I can tell you though, without playing this on the stream, with all of the people who come to the stream and helped me out, I would have played it for an hour or two and then I would have been done. Because there's still stuff in this game I don't have a fucking clue how to do. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. It's embedded in the DNA of the genre at this point. I'm super fortunate that I had people to co-pilot this thing with me. But between that and the fast loads, the conditions were right for me to be open to this experience, and I finally get it now. Holy cow. You know, this is pure gaming. It is so delightful. It is so challenging, but not unfairly so. You keep wanting to go back because whenever you die, you totally feel for the most part it's your fault. The visuals in this game are absolutely gorgeous. The sound design in this game is absolutely breathtaking. What a fucking amazing title. Happily seeing Demon's Souls at my number 3 spot for 2020. What a fucking game. Here we are in the home stretch. Let me just say really quickly, there are some games I did not play this year. Some big games. I did not play The Last of Us Part 2. I have yet to play Doom Eternal. I would be stunned if Doom Eternal doesn't end up in my top 10 of 2020 when I do eventually play it. You may or may not be surprised to learn every professional video game voting committee I've been on, from DICE to GDC to a couple of other ones, the vast majority of people who vote don't play everything. It's absolutely bullshit. I don't mind so much right now because it's my own personal list, but at least let me give you full disclosure. The number of people who play everything, let alone everything to completion, and then sit in judgment, you can count them probably on one hand, so be aware. Number 2 and number 1, I know they're going to sound kind of hipster bullshit. You guys know me. I don't give a fuck about being seen as anything, let alone a hipster. They're just things that really rocked my world at an interactive level this year. They're going to come across as kind of obnoxious. I don't mean them to. I played more games this year than I have in many years, and these are the 2 that I kept coming back to as examples of things that really just stirred my soul. So let's just jump in and see what you think of number 2 and number 1. Number 2 is a demo. What? I know, but that's how powerful this demo was. This is a demo I played online during virtual PAX this year. It is called Unpacking. All I will tell you about this game, I know, you're looking at it right now, you're like, Jaffe, you have fucking lost your fucking mind, you moron. I know. But this is brilliant. This is a game where literally all you do are unpack boxes and put things away, and there's a little bit of Tetris in the game where you have to put things in the right location in order to sort of complete a room. But it's really about storytelling, and there's no cutscenes, there's no dialogue. It's literally the story of starting as a girl in 1997, I believe, because it's just a demo right now, all the way up through her life. And the places she moves into and moves out of, the objects that she continues to take with her throughout her life, and the ones that she leaves behind. And it is so amazingly cool that you can play this in simply the nature of pulling things out of boxes. You begin to get a picture of who this person, this girl at first who grows into a woman, and ultimately I'm assuming an old woman. I have to assume the final level is her on her deathbed. But it's just very pure. It is the way to tell a story in a video game. You as a player discover the story as you play it. You discover character as you play it. It's just delightful and bold and unique and fresh. It is highly recommended. I think you can still get the demo. The game is coming out this year. What a fucking amazing testament to the medium. This is Unpacking, the demo, number 2, 2020. Well, if that wasn't hipster bullshit enough for you, you better sit down because it's going to get worse. That's not true, but it's true, but it's not. Look, here's the deal. My number 1 game of the year, you probably haven't heard of. I'm not trying to be that guy, I promise. The beard is not a statement. It's just the pandemic. I'm just lazy. But listen, number 1 is a game I played in the summer. It is, let me just show it to you. It's the best thing I've played all year. It is just, what's the word? It is sublime. It's number 1 of 2020. It's Ultrakill. Okay, it don't look like much, but it's got it where it counts, as my buddy Han says. This game, kind of like a little bit like Hot Shot Racing back at number 6, but even more so. This is pure adrenaline. I have never played a game that has made me feel... I've never done cocaine in my life, okay? I've done Adderall because I have ADD, but... I think I know what it would be like. I mean, this game gets you buzzing. This game gets you on that razor's edge of like everything is falling apart and you're barely able to hang on and keep control of the chaos. It is one of those wonderful Zen games that when you get into the rhythm and it just takes you over, it's no longer about story or cutscenes or the concept of level design or any of that. It goes straight to your heart, straight to your soul. It is like a fucking thrill ride that just plasters a fucking grin on your face the whole time. I have never played a game that has given me this feeling, and because of that, and because it's so much goddamn fun, it is so fast. The best. I've heard it compared to first-person Vanquish. I've also heard it called Devil May Quake. Those are apropos. Those work. But it's even faster and crazier than both those games. This is nuts, baby. This is number 1 2020. Get this fucking game, man. It is Ultrakill. And it, as the little kids say, is fucking fire.